Um, to me, some of the best stories that came out of Rescue Rangers was, well, it's hard to say because there was 65 episodes, so 65 stories. But I'd have to say the overall best to me, well, top of the list for me, and I know this, I know a lot of people are probably going to see this, have heard me say it, but the top one for me was Double O Chipmunk. That was the best story I've ever seen. The reason I say that is because, it focuses on Dale, and here's Dale, who everybody considers like a goof off, He goofs off, does whatever he wants, kind of deal. And here he is staying at home while the others are like at the police station looking for clues, or for new cases. And here he is, like I say, staying at home watching his favorite spy show, sort of a James Bond, parody. And he tells them as soon as they arrive that they can learn his favorite spy heroes. I think the spy hero was Dirk Suave. I think that was the name of the spy hero. If they can learn his tricks, that they could be better Rangers than ever. And so what happens is at night when everybody's asleep except for Dale, they're all awoken by some kind of commotion in Gadget's workshop. And when they see what the commotion is, they see that it's Dale. And they see that Dale, well, I guess the Chip is goofing around in Gadget's workshop, but what Dale's really doing is he's taking one of his tuxedos, he's gimmicky it up, kind of gimmicked it up, if you will, with all sorts of, gadgets, if you will, to the point that his bow tie is a camera with a real bright flash, his belt buckles, a grappling hook, and he's got a helicopter coming out of the back of his tuxedo coat, and he's got his cufflinks are exploding smoke bombs, and overall, he tries to show off, but also tries to show his teammates that, look what I've done here. If I can do this, I can do it with the rest of your clothes, or something like that, and we could be better than ever. Our villains, our enemies wouldn't stand a chance. But unfortunately, all Dale does is mainly get Monterey and Chip mad at him. Well, actually gets Chip mad at him, and I think Monterey laughing at him or something like that. I can't remember. And the only person that I believe, the only person that understood him out of all this and felt sorry for him was Gadget. So what does Gadget do? What Gadget does is she vows to help Dale live his dream. So she comes up with this little game, right, to where it's sort of like a spy game, and she kind of convinces and gets Chip and Monty to dress up. Monty's got like a beard and a fedora hat and glasses, and Chip's got like a rat nose and tail and a black trench coat, and Gadget, wow, talk about a character that normally that you're used to seeing the way she is. Gadget, in one of the rare exceptions, and she was in another episode she did this, but towards the end, dresses herself up. She puts on lipstick, mascara, puts on a yellow wig, puts on a red dress, jewelry, high heels, I guess powders her body completely tanned or tans herself a little bit to look darker. And basically, what she does the next morning is she has all the Rangers except for Dale leave the house or leave the tree house, so that Dale wakes up wondering what's going on. Were they really that mad? Did they go on a case without me? Because they were really mad at us, basically mad at him and Zipper. But instead, what happens is Dale wakes up, he gets this knock on the door. He opens it up, and there's, well, to him, a girl mouth that he's never seen before, but it's Gadget. And Gadget basically does her act and gets Dale to take part in this, even though he doesn't know it's a spy game. So, and one of the funniest parts about this episode, one of the funny parts of this scene is, before she leaves, she kisses Dale on the lips. And I love the part afterwards when she goes back to Chip and Monty. Monty kind of congratulates her on doing a great job. And as soon as she says, and after she thanks him and says this whole game should make Dale feel better, the line that Chip gives her is, "You didn't have to kiss him." And when I heard that line, even thinking about it now, it's like, oh my God, he must be jealous, because she's never done that to him yet. All she's ever done is kiss him on the cheek. That's it, never on the lips. So anyway, making a long story short, the spy game actually gets mixed in with a real spy situation that the Rangers and Dale have to solve. So in the end, they do beat the real spies and, I guess, put them to justice or something. But overall, it's a great episode. I consider it one of the best because, like I said, it has a lot of firsts in there, and you just have to see it to know what I mean. Another good episode, and again, there's a lot of good episodes, a lot of good stories that came out of the episodes. Another one is Case of the Cola Cult. Case of the Cola Cult is really, it's sort of like a dark episode, if you will. Sort of like sounded like a very emotional, dark episode. Here you have Gadget, whose inventions, sometimes they have a few glitches here and there, and she thinks she's starting to lose her touch, maybe. Maybe she's not doing something right. Maybe she's losing it. And one of her last inventions that she makes before she starts really thinking and believing that she's losing her touch is a gyromobile. And actually what happens is the villain in the story uses a screwdriver to unscrew one of the screws in the gyromobile to make it come apart. Because, as we find out later on in the story, he feels threatened by Gadget. Like, he knows she was going to be trouble, so he wanted to make her, I guess, doubt herself and leave the Rangers. So, and that's what happens. She ends up being so self-doubting that what she can do, she actually temporarily quits the team. And I guess tries to maybe join the Cola Cult because they welcome her and want to give her a place where she can belong. And then that's when we find out that the villain is within the Cola Cult. Now, I'm not going to say who that villain is if you haven't seen the episode. If no one's seen the episode, but yeah, she finds out who the villain is, and then finds out from the villain that he was the one that sabotaged her gyromobile, and that in fact she's never really lost her touch. She was just self-doubting herself because maybe she had a few glitches. So what happens is she goes back to Ranger headquarters, sort of makes a combination Ranger tank, which is sort of like a combination of the Ranger skate that they have at the beginning of the episode and the gyromobile. So, and I love the Disney Afternoon preview for this. Because when the Disney Afternoon was on, in the credits rolled at the end, they had previews of all the shows. I love how the announcer says that this situation turns her into Ramboette. So. I love that. I love that preview. But that is just one of the good stories. And another good story again is Good Times, Bad Times, because this introduces the character of Foxglove, and she has become one of the most popular characters out of the series because she's one of those one-shot characters that actually had a website dedicated to her. And everybody argues the fact that maybe Good Times, Bad Times could have been the last episode. So basically what happens is that, and I'm sorry about that, those are some motorcycles going by outside, motorbikes. But basically, she's one of those rare characters that gets a site dedicated to, one of those one-shot characters. And like I was saying, a lot of fans of debated and talked about as to if Good Times, Bad Times was the last episode of the Rescue Rangers, because it looks like she's joining the team in the end. But those are just a few of some of what I consider the best episodes out of the Rescue Rangers. Some of the best stories. To tons more, like Adventures in Squirrel Sitting, Mind Your Cheese and Q's, and many others. But those are just a few, and of what I consider some of the best stories to come out of Rescue Rangers.